London, arguably, is the best city in the world.
The home of cricket, cups of tea and Sunday roasts.
I'm really excited to play at the Wembley Arena.
Wembley is, of course, an epic location.
To sell out Wembley Arena inside an hour is just mind-boggling for England.
Gonna be thousands of League of Legends fans there.
12,000. I can't even comprehend that many people in the room. It's gonna be crazy.
People are going to scream and it will help us when playing the game.
All of esports has never had an event this size in England.
I've already got so many friends coming to London, so like I've got hundreds of people messaging me like, oh, I'm going to see you there. We're bringing SHC banners, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to playing in London because it's my hometown. I hope I can do well in front of the crowd.
I really can't wait to get in and deliver a brilliant show.
We're here to drink tea and play League of Legends, but we're all out of tea.
Smith, and alongside me is my fellow caster countryman and very good friend Joe Miller, and we are here at the historic SSE Arena at Wembley. This venue has hosted performers like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones and the Who, but today it will host some of the best League of Legends players in Europe as Week 5 of the European Challenger Series Championship Series will begin and take place here in England.
And it's absolutely great to finally have a massive event here at home in England. Fantastic crowd that we've got in here today. And I can't wait to get the games underway.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic, you guys. Of course, you know, everybody was loving All-Stars. The crowd there was pretty big, so you guys have got a lot to live up to, that's for sure. We are, of course, ready. We want some quick updates for the European LCS. First off, of course, the big news, everybody knows it. Due to an issue with Gambit's visas, the team will have 4 substitutes coming into play with their sole starter. I know, guys. Nick will be playing, of course, but coming into this one alongside the team will be Cabashard, Lolex, Fury, and Heaver.
And the Super Hot Crew will also have a substitute since We Will Failure will be out for exams in Belgium. So a fellow Britishman, Yero, will be coming in as support.
And Week 5 of the North American LCS concluded yesterday, and every single team went 1-1 for the week. So their table, it didn't change at all. Up in the top, it is LMQ, Counter Logic Gaming, and Team Dignitas. They all have 8 wins and 4 losses.
And they are, of course, followed closely by Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid at 7 and 5, with the rest of the teams in the bottom of the table.
And here is a quick look at the standings over here in Europe. Before we head into today's matches, the top 3 spots in the table are clear right now. Alliance are sitting at the top of the table with 8 wins and 2 losses, and then chasing them is SK Gaming and Millennium.
In fact, the only tie that we currently have is in the middle of the pack, where the Super Hot Crew and Fnatic are both 5 and 5 and having a tough time this season. Sitting in last place, we have the Copenhagen Wolves at 2 for 8.
We'll begin today's LCS matches with a face-off for control of first place between SK Gaming and Alliance. After that, Super Hot Crew will take on the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, then Millennium will face off against Roccat, and we'll end the day here in England with Gambit Gaming versus Fnatic. A brilliant way to end the day.
As those matches play out, these are the pros we'll be keeping a close eye on throughout the week. First off for me, it is Reckless. Well, he had some great stats last week when he got twitched twice. However, he was also the man that made the call to keep on pushing against Alliance, which lost him the game. That may well played heavily on his mind this week, so I'm interested to see just how exactly he's going to respond. Next up, it's the man in the middle's game. Everybody fantasy points. It is Kerp. He was MVP last week, and for good reason, honestly. He performed exceptionally well on Twisted Fate and Fizz. This week, he's going to be facing Overpower and XPK, though, who both play very similar champions. So we're going to need to see if he can step up his game and if Millennium can once again go 2-0. Next up's the AD carry, Tabzz. He's been quietly going about his business to clean up those kills for Alliance. He holds the 3rd highest KDA in Europe, the 3rd most kills in Europe, and the highest gold per minute.
And for me, the next player to watch is Yero. He's a former Dignitas UK and Steve Bake's Cookies support who will be filling in for We Will Failure. While it's only a temporary move, it's going to be interesting to see how the Brit does here on stage in one of the country's most prestigious venues. And finally, Gambit's Nick is obviously going to be pivotal in these matches this weekend as he's playing with 4 substitutes. He'll need to be in top form, to be honest, if the team are to pick up any points from week 5.
And if you want more information about the players, the teams, the schedule, to watch the VODs of past matches and episodes of the LCS preview show, head over to lolesports.com where you can find all of that and much more.
Yeah, and that's where you can vote on today's games and let us know who you think will win. Just visit the schedule link to submit your votes and we'll check in before each match to see exactly who you played. And you can also get seats and watch the LCS live in person. We'll return to our studio in Cologne, Germany next week, and you can check out the tickets link at the top of the page for all the information. And of course, we'd be thrilled to have you there.
Absolutely. And in honor of the LCS coming to London, we are very excited to announce the debut of Primetime Draven. The original mustachioed menace in the bot lane has equipped his axes with microphones and is calling his own action on the Rift. Here's a look and listen at Primetime Draven in all his arrogant glory.
Let's check out our featured matchup of the day. Draven versus some loser. Don't touch that browser. Draven will be right back.
And Primetime Draven was, of course, inspired by all of you incredible LOL esports fans around the world. Hopefully a little bit by us shoutcasts as well, except only Quickshot's hair can actually come close to that of Draven's, apparently. He is available today. That's Draven, not Quickshot. And in honor of his debut, we are happy to announce that we'll be giving away Primetime Draven codes to lucky LCS viewers whose tweets get shown on today's broadcast.
So let's get those tweets started, because you guys all want it. Jump on Twitter and tell us which European player will perform the best here in London this week and why.
I wish we'd have said which English player is going to perform best here in London. I actually have a feeling that Freddy, not only is SK doing really, really well, but these guys in the audience might be making a little bit of noise for Freddy. Of course, guys, we want to hear what you say, so send those on to us at LOL Esports with the hashtag LCS. We'll check out your answers and read our favorite responses later on in the show.
So, let's get the LCS action started with this game between the current top 2 teams in Europe, SK Gaming versus Alliance. Alliance had a shaky start back in the spring, but have been standing tall at the top of the table throughout the summer split. We went behind the scenes with the team to get a closer look at what makes them tick, both on and off the Rift.
Let's get ready for our last LCS match of the day as Alliance take on Gambit. Let's see if Alliance can keep their incredible form up, really. The hook will land, but Nyph gets exploded, and now there are only 2 men left alive. Wickd gets onto the fountain, but it's not going to be enough to save the game from them. Gambit push things home, and they wreck Alliance's record.
Gambit were just the better team.
We didn't expect their picks, and that screwed us out. We weren't strong in them in any part of the map. We couldn't split push, we couldn't team fight.
We know why we lost, and we will get over it, and we will make sure it doesn't happen again.
Usually around 2 or 3 we go on TeamSpeak together with our coach, and then we go through bans and picks.
So we're aiming to ban Twitch and pick Lucian?
Look, if he wanna run any kind of comp, you know which mid lane he plays mid lanes.
Well, they do like the first pick Jax, right? They have first pick, so I would pick Kayle and Lee over Jax for sure. I don't really care about Jax.
I do care, but I'm pretty sure they'll ban it or first pick it. If they pick Siobhan, I'll be happy.
If we can get Kayle, Twitch is like no problem. They have strong lane presence early in this comp.
We just did picks or bans or preparation for Fnatic. But I think we should start doing it earlier. So I think that's more beneficial. You can practice the comp and you can see what counters it and then still make changes.
The big match of the day for me, this one, Fnatic and Alliance. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans about to get underway. Both these teams looking to go for kills, it seems. This could be an explosive match.
It's focus, guys.
Yeah, focus, guys.
There's the damage coming out. The stun won't come through. Nyph's in trouble. Cyanide flashing for it.
I'm keeping here. I'm keeping over here.
Here comes Wickd teleporting into the fight. Can they turn this one around? Tabzz is going to come back in towards it. Reckless gets away. Intervention being used by Wickd. Shook's going to have to flash away. Froggen will get away. It was only his mirror image. Shook just off the side. Oh, so has found him. He's in trouble. Shook's going to go down. Pekke will take himself an easy kill there. And again, Fnatic come out on top.
What are we going to do now? How are you guys bottom? Can you farm?
Fine, I'll be fine.
Go 3 dive him.
But at the moment, it's Fnatic putting the pressure on, but Alliance dealing with it very well. They're going to take the Dragon, they're going to take Yellow Star. That's going to be a hook and kill. The Death Sentence doing its job. Look at this though, middle and bottom lane both being pushed. Fnatic have to back away, they can't push on towards it too long.
We are faster than them. We're faster than them.
Yeah,
we're faster than them.
Okay, go for him. Get still 2 bot.
But Triple is still back.
I'm gonna use base.
Tier ulti. He's bot.
I'm basing the base.
Finish again.
Oh my god, man. Can he finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can finish.
Froggen catches down Soas. They're going to keep on shoving through.
Fucking go ham. Everything on the tower. All on tower. Shoot, don't die. Everything on the tower. They're basing. Focus the tower. Help me.
I fix also tier. Finish.
But let's say they were 3. You really think you can finish?
No, of course you can finish, but you won't.
No, but that's what I mean. If no one died, it was in it for in it, but it's mid in it for
no, you would not get in it.
We are too fast.
We obviously know we are faster 5 versus 2, right? But like, just keep going onto the base. We misplayed the early game, which snowballed them into a lead.
You actually lost control of the game, which is not something that should have happened.
We played worse than them in the early game, and they got really far ahead of us, which they shouldn't have. We could have done better, and that's just it. It doesn't matter the bonus performance, I think we played better. Next week will be better.
Fantastic to see what happens behind the scenes in a high pressure moment like that. And of course, as you just saw, Alliance had that winning streak broken by Gambit, which sadly has happened to every team who gets out to a 7-1 record in the European LCS. However, it was a very close game, and Alliance are doing well with the kills and towers, but they were just unable to strangle Gambit out of the Dragon control, which kept them in the game, and eventually gave them the edge to win it. But for me, of course, the more interesting game was that incredible base race against Fnatic. They were behind on kills, but had managed to keep the goal fairly close up until that Dragon fight at the 22-minute mark, where they came away with a 1-0 kill lead. They moved straight into Fnatic's middle lane, and the base race was on. I would argue, though, that the calls from Fnatic in that scenario were less than optimal, let's say, as they decided to split their forces and push and defend. Alliance showed, though, amazing composure to finish the game with that single big push just after 23 minutes.
Was a fantastic game to cast as well, that's for sure. SK Gaming have been solid this season, as their record of 7 wins and 10 games shows. They often struggle to get ahead in the early game, but right now their late game is the best in Europe. If you look at the last game between these two teams, it was all Alliance dominating the start, but as ever, SK Gaming, they managed to hang on, defending their inhibitors, wiping out Alliance and taking the Baron. You could argue that the game came down to this key play. Let's call up that clip and check it out. This is the last time they faced each other, and it was all about Nyph. Check out, he's just used the sweeping lens, so he's got the Oracle still showing. Just coming down, he's CandyPanda on the rat. He gets spotted, he's stealth, but because that Oracle is on, he sees him, flays him out, catches on there, and the rest of Alliance sees on this opportunity. Keep your eyes on Shook, he's about to pounce straight across the CandyPanda, uses nRated to follow on through, uses the Lee Sin, gets across, safeguards, kicks him back in, and everybody piles onto CandyPanda. Once the main damage dealer went down, Alliance knew they had it in the bag. Fail flash at the side there from Jesiz, we don't want to keep our eye on that one, but a fantastic performance, honestly. Nyph with that play really was the turning point, and you could argue that was the winning moment for Alliance.
Yeah, definitely, and there's no doubt these two teams right now are probably the best that we've got in Europe. They're certainly doing very well, but let's move on to things and check out the lineups.
Yeah, over these starting lineups for the blue side, it is SK Gaming. That means the top lane is the Englishman in England, ladies and gentlemen. It's Freddy122. Svenskeren is the jungler alongside him. Jesiz in that mid lane. CandyPanda as the AD carry, and nRated on support.
And on the red side, it's Alliance with Wickd in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane, and the duo of Tabzz and Nyph.
And our featured matchup for today takes place in the mid lane, where SK Gaming's Jesiz will be facing off against Alliance's Froggen. Jesiz has been coming into his own in the mid lane, and you can see that he has grown comfortable with the position now and is more confident in his play. Compared to the other mid laners, he has the 3rd highest KDA in Europe and is 1st in CS at 10 and 20 minutes. However, a cautionary note from last week was the sheer amount of times he got caught out against Fnatic by Rekkles and Peke. He went 1, 7, and 3 in that game, which completely destroyed his KDA of 22 from the week before.
Formidable numbers, really. On the other side, Froggen has continued to show why he's considered by many to be the best mid laner in Europe. His performances have been very consistent, with his Nyph play over the last couple of weeks really being the highlight so far for me. He's also top of the European mid laners when it comes to KDA at almost 10, whilst also sitting in the top 3 of mid lane CS totals at both the 10 and 20 minute marks in the game. And it's quite simple, really. If you want to beat Alliance, you've got to shut down Froggen.
Absolutely, he is the main man. And as the players prepare for picks and bans, let's see how you guys called this game. According to LOLesports.com, you've all voted, and 77% of you have voted for Alliance. No surprises, honestly. They are the top team, 8 wins, 2 losses, and they've looked very good in those matches.
Top team, but you just feel that these two teams right now are probably very, very even. The fact is that that last game so close. We showed the clip from the finishing move, if you like, earlier on, and just a split second later, maybe CandyPanda coming into that fight could have actually turned things around. Could have been a very, very different outcome. But we want to focus on this one today. Alliance, of course, losing out on that 7-1 record, but bouncing back with the insanity that was that base race.
And they were losing
against
that
Fnatic.
game. They were losing that game pretty heavily, and you know, questioning Fnatic's judgment themselves. They were obviously questioning it once they lost that 1 kill. They knew they'd lost the 2 middle turrets, which is why they went for that base race. Didn't work out for them. Crazy, crazy stuff. Great decision making from Alliance. Let's see how it works out in this game. Picks and bans about to get underway. We actually went through picks and bans for this game ourselves to try and figure out what they're going to go with. Let's see how close we were. Didn't expect the Nidalee ban straight away, that's for sure. And of course, Renekton taken away from Freddy. 100% win record for Freddy on that champion, so that immediately takes away from him.
Yeah, going to stay intact for that one. Nidalee, of course, taken away from Froggen, and also Kale as well, a champion that's really coming into his own. Could be a top lane Kale, which we've obviously seen certain players picking up there as well. So solid ban that covers 2 lanes really for SK.
Yeah, that one we 100% knew was coming. Of course, Wicked's been playing that one in the top lane over the last few weeks. Froggen, of course, played it heavily back in the spring as well. So solid pick. Will they go towards the AD carries? Kassadin, of course, red side ban almost always will get taken away. Jesiz locked that one in first time every time it was available. And there is the Thresh being banned out from Nyph. They don't want to get that flay on the rat again.
Yeah, and that was the thing that Alliance have done so well, particularly between Shook and Nyph. You know, we saw so many kicks into hooks and flays. Great combo that they'd set themselves together. No Thresh this game though for Nyph. I'm wondering now what is going to be the final ban for Alliance, and actually going for Orianna here, so not wanting Jesiz to go in on that. What will the first pick be for SK, with the fact that choice of junglers pretty much is all there for them?
Yep.
And as you said, Twitch, highly sought after right now.
Lee Sin's generally been SK's first pick, but Jax is available, and they have been rooting for that one first. We'll see whether Lee Sin gets locked in. Of course, Ziggs is out there as well. Jesiz, one of his big champions for him. A lot of choices, of course. Again, that Twitch almost certainly will get picked up by Alliance if SK don't go for it here. Big yawn from Freddy.
I was going to say, this is not a place where you'd be bored as an Englishman. Certainly I'm not, at least.
Braum.
Yeah, Braum. Possibly the first lock-in here for SK
I'm not
Gaming.
sure, you know. I'm not sure that's first pick worthy right now, but it is going to get locked in. That does immediately insta-lock-in. There's Shook. And we just heard Wickd talking about it. Jax, I am bothered about Jax is available, and he may well take it as his top lane champion.
Yeah, it was almost as if the rest of the team said we don't care if Jax goes over, and he said, well, actually, I do care. I do care. And obviously, he's going to get that here today. And Shook not really thinking even a second longer than he needed to about his jungle choice there. Lee Sin going to be picked up straight away for him. So 2 very strong picks out of the gate for Alliance, really. wondering now where SK are going to go.
I wonder if they're going to take away Morgana, maybe, because Nyph will fall back to that champion. I wonder if that's where they're going to maybe focus. Ziggs, as I mentioned, Jesiz, big champion for him. He loves the long-range poke champions. It buys him a lot of time, and of course, the Ziggs in the team, everybody knows, can delay a game, and that's what works so well for SK, because they have that weaker early game.
Yeah, and that's something that they've obviously either been working on or certainly should have been working on over the last couple of weeks, but the Ziggs gives you that almost a safety buffer to say that, okay, even if we're a little bit behind and they start sieging, we can clear everything out and stop them being too much of a problem. Also, Ilyas was locked in here for Svenskeren in the jungle, so the resurgence really of Vi and Jarvan champions like that in the jungle not going to be spotted in this one. We're sticking to that holy trinity, if you like, that we've been seeing in recent weeks with Ilyas for SK and Lee Sin over with Alliance. Now, onto the AD carry possibly here for Tabzz. I think they'll be quite happy that in a second round of picks that they're going to get a Lucian, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely the champion he favors over Twitch, actually. And I talked about Tabzz in the opening of this show. We'll see whether Nyph gets locked in yet. Definitely a crowd favorite, but unfortunately for Froggen, Nyph did not work for him against Gambit, which is why I feel it won't get played here. It is going to be a Yasuo. We just saw it fail twice, actually, by Exile in the last two NIP games. We'll see how Froggen deals with it this time around.
Yeah, and interesting as well, since really relying on Lee Sin to get things started on that front. We'll see what their final lock-in will be for the support role, though. On the other side, it's probably not going to be Teemo, if we're being honest with one another. Shyvana for the top lane, though, for Freddy with his Renekton already being banned away. And for CandyPanda, you know, he's a player who's liked to play things like Kog'Maw, like Twitch in the early stages as well. Graves not completely out of the question, but I think they're looking towards Kog'Maw, yeah.
Kog'Maw and Braum is a very, very dangerous combo. He can land a lot of those hits to get those stun out. He's got a very long range. He can get the slow down and manage to hit you off, so you can get stunned up if that combo lands. Of course, last time we saw Braum in the previous matchup for Voidal, there wasn't too many combos landing. I expect to see nRated certainly getting a few more of those in there. Freddy, of course, on Shyvana to champion. We were kind of expecting he switched it. Picked up Twitch. The Rat has very, very good stats in the LCS right now. You can see 64.3% win rate for that Rat.
And the final pick here for Alliance, not messing around there. Nyph going straight towards Gragas, a champion which Edward, of course, has played a lot in the European LCS so far. And that adds a, we were wondering about the knock-up scenario, you know, the kick from Lee Sin. Yes, it's going to be able to help you out with one, or maybe more if you can knock them in the right direction, but with the barrel in there, it makes it a lot easier to pick whichever target you want.
Yeah, very impressed. Let's see how Nyph's picked this one up, of course. As you mentioned, Eddie has been the only person, honestly, running Gragas in Europe, and nobody else went near it, but now Nyph suddenly switching across. Morgana was available. It's a champion that he's generally run towards, but with Braum in there, he obviously felt they needed something. Gonna be interesting to see how this one works out between them. Both high damaging teams as well. The question is, can Alliance close out SK inside 40 minutes? None as a Ziggs. That's their record they always set themselves.
Yeah, that's the difficult question in this one, and I think they might be struggling with this Alliance duo lane as well. We saw earlier on in the season their game against Gambit where they really, really struggled out in the bottom lane. We are, of course, going to find out here pretty soon, and now that the players have selected their champion, which mid laner do you think will dominate? All you have to do is send a tweet to @LOLesports with #Jesiz or #Froggen, and we'll take a look at your responses once we get in game.
Who is it going to work? Is it going to be Yasuo or Ziggs? That's the question. I'm not too sure. This is a definitely interesting setup, and more to the point, that Gragas that was selected for Alliance, he is really the only AP damage they've got, which is potentially a problem for Alliance if the game is to go late, and it always generally does against SK.
And we saw in the last game that they weren't really focusing on making sure there was armor in the team. I think that might change this time around, though.
Yeah, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The LCS first game of the day is underway. It's a battle for the top of the table here in London, Wembley Arena. SK Gaming starting out as the blue team, up against Alliance as the red team. We'll see whether we have any of these level 1 engages. We didn't see either of them in the Challenger Series matches. They were very much stale, opening early setups. And I got a feeling that nobody wants to be too risky, but SK are moving in numbers towards this top area.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is the kind of game that you really want to be taking risks, or that these teams are going to be wanting to risk things at the very start of the game. We'll have to see, though, as we see a pretty big stack from SK on the top side. In fact, 4 men going to be going inside of the Alliance jungle here, joined now by nRated as well. So full 5-man invade on the top side, getting some early wards down.
Yeah, good catch there from the Sonic Wave, giving them vision of SK moving in. You saw them ping out the points actually on the map. They want to get these 3 wards down, it seems. They want to go very deep in that top area. Wickd was thinking about coming around the back, but I'm not too sure that was a wise choice, and you can see very good coverage from SK. Very early vision. Shook's going to come around, does manage to land the Sonic Wave on Svenskeren, delaying him just for a short period, and that actually slows them down. They wanted to all back away from that one. But CandyPanda's going to run guard duty alongside him. Jesiz blocking this one off, and everybody will back away. Meanwhile, down the bottom area, you can see there was an invade from Alliance as well. They got themselves wards deep in the red territory. Tabzz and Nyph doing a little bit of dancing.
A beard shake from Krakas down there. SK actually sticking fairly close to that enemy red buff side, and actually Svenskeren and CandyPanda are going to go back in here. We do have Shook and Wickd waiting around. There'll be an early ward spot coming out from Alliance, but it's Wickd that is going to be being focused, but it's just a couple of auto attacks trying to force them away from this red buff start, which of course now will slow Shook down, means that he has to cross over onto that red, onto his blue side of the jungle to get the start, and that Svenskeren will get the first buff of the game.
Yeah, that's a red buff steal coming out from SK Gaming. It's a slow reaction for Alliance. They're going to have to run all the way down this bottom end. You can see there's a ward just covering them off there. They're going to start off with the blue instead, going straight in, hitting that smite immediately. And then it's going to give a lot of time, free time in that top lane for CandyPanda and nRated to just continue free farm the lane. Nyph is going to ward out this red buff. You can see that Wicked's already making his way around it, so they absolutely want to focus this next.
Yeah, Wickd moving down. Svenskeren will be, Shook will be there in just a moment as well. He's just finished off the Alliance blue buff. So as we see him move around, Svenskeren is already doing the blue buff of his own, and Wicked's going to be helping things out with Nyph, offering a bit of zone control on the top side just to make sure that Jesiz doesn't come down with a sneaky bouncing bomb to try and steal that one away. Meanwhile, Tabzz having the time to farm down here in the bottom lane. Same, however, can be said up in the top side of the map where CandyPanda and nRated free farming as well.
Dangerous time for Freddy in that bot lane. There is 4 members of Alliance. They could go for an early tower dive, and he knows it. Yeah, quickly wards that one out, realizes the danger. He's actually going to get surrounded here. This minion wave will push in. They have the siege minion with them as well, and now Freddy's going to have to get the hell out of there. Wicked's going to have Counter-Strike available. It will lock up Freddy. Can they kick him towards it? Good flash straight away there. They're not going to get enough slowdown, and Freddy will escape this one. Good 4-man invade, but Freddy read it.
Yeah, really holding on to his flash there until the moment where he felt, okay, this makes sense to get away from. He took the Counter-Strike like a real man and ended up surviving that one. However, it means now that he's got no flash available, could then be an easy target moving forward for Alliance, but pretty much mirror image here, except there's, quite frankly, more men for SK Gaming up on the top side of the map. This mid lane also been fairly quiet up until now. Froggen got a slight lead on the experience and CS in that one, and they may now try and move around for Jesiz as well.
Yeah, there's 4 members here. Jesiz, can they make him burn his flash or his ignite? They're going to power around. That's a very early Counter-Strike that landed and just locked him straight up. Nothing he could do about that. Couldn't even react, couldn't flash. He was dead.
That was an incredible move from Alliance, and maybe you'd expect that to happen after 4 men were down in the bottom. Then, of course, they all went missing after trying to lock down Freddy. But either way, they changed everything that they need to. No flash for Jesiz means that he goes down for the first blood here in Alliance's favor. That kill actually went over to Shook, so we'll see how that all develops. Currently, Alliance moving in for a very, very early Dragon, less than 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, interesting. Without the Ilyas, we've been seeing these obviously 3.5-minute Dragons over in North America and Korea. Svenskeren well on top of this one. He has got the Ilyas, of course. Freddy is level 3 as well. They're going to try and harass as much as they can. That Dragon will do a lot of damage at this level. Jesiz comes around, bouncing bombs are surrounded here. He's going to go in. It is going to be smited out by Shook. Now can they pick up kills? They're going to go towards Freddy. No flash available for on towards Wickd. That's how he can flash across and get that Counter-Strike down. SK do harass, but it was a Dragon for Alliance. It's a great bit of starting for Alliance here.
Yeah, and not quite the kills there for Alliance that they would have wanted, but again, they forced a flash out of Svenskeren. He had to get out of the back of that Dragon Pit as Nyph going very aggressive towards Freddy. nRated gonna get a couple of knocks on. They should be able to stun him up. Nyph going very low. Will flash, but there is Shook as well. Freddy down to less than half HP. The shield coming out from nRated will block most of that damage through, and again, two very low players, but no kill.
Vital safeguard from Shook there, managing to save his support Nyph, doing a lot of damage. We've seen, of course, Edward, as he mentioned, tanking out, taking so much damage, and it's a big, big problem for Kraken's players, but Nyph hasn't backed away yet. There's still 3 members of SK here. He gets caught out once again. Shook is sticking around. Nyph happy to just chug through those barrels and keep himself alive.
And staying there as well. However, once these minions start getting underneath the tower, more HP over with SK Gaming. Good bit of CC as well from that Cocoon, but no risks here being put in. Meanwhile, the top lane, Tabzz, this entire time been farming, and sorry, not Tabzz, CandyPanda, of course, plays for SK in the AD carry role. And that's a big vote, 94% for Froggen.
And honestly, look at the CS right now. The moment that goes down, Froggen has a gigantic advantage. Remember, Jesiz, of course, did go down. He was ganked out, but 52 to 29 right now for Froggen up against Jesiz. Huge CS advantage. Of course, the kill assist went across to Froggen as well, so he has a very big lead right now, taking away these rates every time because Shook has not been there. He's not been taking his own jungle. He's been assisting the lanes non-stop.
Well, that's working out brilliantly for Froggen as well. He'll have a good chunk of gold to go home and spend here momentarily. Meanwhile, that top lane's still being pressured, and now Svenskeren gonna make an appearance up there. Wickd needs to back away from this 3 versus 1. Not something that he really wants to take. Actually saw Svenskeren coming up thanks to that Tribush ward, which will be scouted out by the pink ward of nRated, but we'll see the control that SK have on this top side of the jungle, getting some good deep vision down. They're gonna steal away the red buff for a second time.
Yeah, Wickd, despite the fact Jax is generally a tough champion to dive early on, CandyPanda is already 6. Jesiz is already 6, so big combo of damage coming their way if it was to land in the same time. Wickd instead having to continue going around, taking these wraiths away. He's going to get the support of Froggen, who is 4 levels ahead of him. So at the moment, Wickd is hurting in this game compared to Freddy, who is level 5. You can see in this bottom lane. So Wickd needs to get himself some experience and gold on the board.
Svenskeren moving over to this mid lane, probably needs to give a bit of help there to Jesiz as well. We said it before that Froggen got a healthy lead up until now, and stealing away those wraiths only helping his cause. There goes the barrel in. Actually, wasn't stolen away, so close, but not quite. Or actually, did he? I think he might have even got that one in the end. Either way, nicely done from Nyph, who's sat right now at level 4, and it's going to be interesting once he actually hits 6 and whether Alliance then think, okay, this is the point where we can start grouping up a little bit more and trying to take some team fights, with Froggen especially being ahead.
Yeah, Froggen taking his own race once again. This bottom lane, Freddy is about to hit level 6, not too far away from that one. You can see Tabzz already there. CandyPanda has been on his own in this top lane though, and up against Wickd, who has just hit level 4. Blue buff, of course, going across to Jesiz. No surprises there. Braum is up in the top. We also see Svenskeren's making his way up, and again, Wickd is in danger. He may have to jump away from this one. He has got Leap Strike available. They may try and lock him up before he does it. He does jump away. Now Freddy caught at the bottom.
Yeah, this is dangerous for them now. Lots of damage coming out from Tabzz. There's the ultimate used by Freddy, having to back away once his tower goes down. Did have his flash as well, so wouldn't have been in the most of trouble either way. Should have been safe and didn't have to use his flash in the end. However, turret did go down at the top, so that leaves us at 1 apiece on that front. Gold slightly in advantage for Alliance at this stage. I say slightly, it's 1,000 gold 9 minutes into the game, and we've seen the static shift has already been done here for Froggen.
Still a big issue for Wickd in the top lane. Again, he's going to get stunned up. Good counter-strike there, stopping the basic attacks from CandyPanda. Defended that stun so he couldn't come out, but he needs help in this top lane. Nyph is making his way up there. Is he going to be a little bit too late? Wicked's trying to bait him out there. Well, Nyph does take the knock there from nRated.
CandyPanda actually was tanking up the turret as well, which didn't really help their cause. Froggen and Shook was starting to move up towards that top lane as well, so I think rightly so, SK deciding to leave that one as is, and we'll start to back away from things. However, this mid lane there, and Jesiz going to get knocked up. Has Froggen got the damage? Good satchel charge will actually push Jesiz back towards the safety of that tower, but Froggen showing that he's not scared to have a try and see what he can do.
Yeah, he had a 2-level advantage there as well, built up that static shiv, and very well played from Jesiz. Got that Satchel charge out very, very quickly to bounce him back into the safety of his turret. Of course, with that blue buff on him, Froggen looking to try and take advantage. And there's not too much love between these mid laners as well. We know certainly off the rift that they have some choice words for one another. It hasn't really been made too public though, until now.
Good job, Steve.
But these guys, they don't get on too well, despite the fact they are fellow Danes.
That might actually be the problem.
That is generally the problem.
At the same time. Froggen here moving down towards this bottom lane. What's he looking for? CandyPanda is there, just pushing out that wave. Not sure he's going to get into position to do anything to CandyPanda, but will have himself a free wave. And we said it before, that SK in the early stages of most games have looked a little bit suspect. Their strength really comes towards the mid game, towards the later game as well. And we know that Jesiz only going to be getting strong despite having a bit of a ropey farming time in mid against Froggen. He's now got that Morella Nomicon picked up here, but Alliance with the Dragon Spawn already get into position.
Look at this though, Froggen is 3 levels ahead of everyone there. Jesiz just pings into level 8, currently dominating this one. Dragon will go across to Alliance unless nRated can sneak in and do something similar. Instead, Svenskeren in sorts of trouble. Tabzz actually putting the double tap back down on him. Complete control by Alliance though.
Really nicely done, and with the cocoon, they couldn't even follow up onto it. That's the thing, they are behind at this stage. The threat of Froggen still very, very real. Didn't have Wickd there. Freddy stuck in that top lane, both actually having teleport available, so we'll see how this top lane all starts to work out. Right now, it's a very big lead for Freddy, 61 to 29 CS, although because of that global gold, they're actually really even, only a 50 gold difference between them.
He's just trying to stay away from Freddy right now and get as much as that passive experience he can do, trying to absorb it. He's not getting the last hits, but he's at least getting the experience. He is, of course, a level behind Freddy, which is why he doesn't want to get involved in this one. Hasn't really been able to get enough gold to buy anything. Froggen is roaming and looking for kills, and it seems that mid lane is the focus of Jesiz.
Oh, this could be dangerous for him, or not. Jesiz, I think, reading this one. The fact is, Froggen's been gone for a while. Nyph not being spotted here as well as the raid camp started off, but you see Jesiz quite far away. Oh, the Barrel tries to read him, and Jesiz says, nope, I'm not that obvious. Goes to the top side. Good try from Alliance, and those are the kind of risks you have to take. I mean, if you'd look at it another way and that would have worked out for them, could have been a second kill.
Yeah, Nyph was clearly about to back off, and there's like no reason to stop the cooldown on this ultimate. It's a very quick cooldown as well, so just trying to create a play. CandyPanda back in this bottom line, but you can see Froggen quick to defend it and putting a heck of a lot of damage out towards them. He is a big roaming threat right now for Alliance. It's almost going back to how they played in the spring, honestly, for Alliance here, with Froggen being the man roaming out the side lanes. He's going to potentially be the split pusher, and he is at the moment, because Wickd simply can't keep up with Freddy at the moment.
Have a look at the overall picture, almost 13.5 minutes. Again, going close, actually will get the knock-up. CandyPanda was still there. They'd seen Svenskeren already. Wise, I think, on the overall picture for Froggen not to go through onto that one and try and pick himself up another kill. But back to the fact that the gold is well and truly in favor of Alliance here. 2,000 gold. 13.5 minutes into the match.
Speaking of gold, Froggen is sitting on 2,000 gold right now, yet to go back and make a purchase. Now he's about to go back. We'll see if he goes towards that BF sword, whether he goes towards the Infinity Edge, whether he decides to split across the Blade of the Rune King, which we have seen a number of times. There it is, it's going to be Blade of the Rune King coming out for him first time around this time. Shook, well, he's just claiming out the blue buff because, simply put, Froggen doesn't need it, doesn't care for it, so he's getting his farm on as well. He's just slightly ahead of Svenskeren as well.
Really nicely. We did see how the Blade of the Ruin King was finished for CandyPanda. May just give him a little bit more confidence when it comes to down in that bottom lane, which I'm imagining is going to be freezing up for as long as he possibly can here. He's got a big wave going down. Meanwhile, blue buff will come up on the other side of the map, and SK will give this one over to Jesiz on Ziggs, who still about 40 CS behind, being pretty constant, that kind of ratio that he's been behind Froggen for this entire game, but is still Ziggs, and he's still going to get to a point where it's hard to break through him.
That's it, and you can see obviously Froggen's been roaming all over the place, and actually has fell back a little bit. He did have a 2-3 level advantage over Jesiz. It's just down to 1 level now. They are grouping, they've been trying to make plays, and it's not quite worked out for them. They did get the Dragon, of course, a moment ago. They are still even in turrets, and this is a long laning phase, honestly, for both these teams. 15 minutes in. Kind of what we expected. The first game of the LCS, top of the table clash. Nobody wants to make early mistakes.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, because for me, SK Gaming have said themselves, and we've seen time and time again, that the late game really is their good position, as Freddy may be in trouble. He will get stunned up ever so slightly, but he's already jumped away from it, and Kent still has his flash available should he need to back away, even trying for a sneaky steal there from Shook on the goal. And so we can see the confidence of Freddy, not even backing away, even knowing that Shook was around.
Yeah, he's got a big advantage over Wickd, so he's quite happy to deal with him. 2v1 may be a bit of a problem, and look at this though. Froggen caught out. Will he try and turn this one back around? Wimwall goes in. Hasn't got his ultimate available. Now he does. Catches up and is nRated. Good flash from CandyPanda to avoid the damage. Really well worked by that duo pairing.
Really well done, and again coming in with the stealth. That's what I wanted. Now that Blade of the Ruin King is done. How aggressive will SK be? Shows us right there. They were waiting for nRated to get in position, and not a lot that Froggen could really do to avoid that one, but that gives the kill. Okay, it went over to nRated, which I'm sure CandyPanda would have really liked to have that one kill on him, but either way, nicely done, and that will add a bit of doubt to Froggen's mind as well. Maybe stop him being so confident in pushing out on this bottom side of the map and continuing that farm, although that itself has now come down to just 20. Jesiz continues to bring that back.
Yeah, I'd love to get a slow-mo on the replay of that one for CandyPanda, just how quick he reacted to flash it away on that wind wall from Froggen, trying to not get that knock-up on towards him. Shook now may get phased out in Svenskeren here, and I'm not too sure he wants his fight. You can see he's got the support of Nyph. They may try and collapse towards him. They need to really land in their skill shots this time around. Where's he going to repel to? But look at SK, they're all closing the gap. They managed to catch on towards Svenskeren. This time around, they will lock him down just before the Dragon is up. Now nRated's focused on towards him. You can see they're diving all around him. He's going to go down. Froggen gets himself another. The Dragon up in 30 seconds. SK just at the wrong point pulled out.
Costly mistake there as well. Svenskeren just wandering through, wanted to see exactly what was going on down by that tri-bush area. Didn't actually throw a ward out in all of that, and Alliance were, unfortunately for Svenskeren, already in position, just coming through. Okay, dodgy sidestep the Q first of all out of Shook, but in fact also he had the flash in there, was able to lock them up with the kills, with a kick, and that leaves Alliance 3-1 up in kills. And probably more importantly, as you mentioned, the Dragon coming up 30 seconds after that last little skirmish. This is going to go to Alliance. There's no one around for SK Gaming at all, except Jesiz, who doesn't even have his ultimate, so we can forget that.
Yeah, clean pickup, hasn't got that Mega Inferno bomb to steal it away. Top lane is still going heavily in favor of Freddy, though. It's going to be a case of when Freddy gets involved in these team fights, which, as we know, will be a while yet. He's farming out in that top lane. He's going to get himself a Sunfire Cape right now. While that's all happening, Wickd is starting to get back into this one. Still a lot of damage going on there. Froggen and Jesiz continuing to go tit for tat in that mid lane. Nobody really committing.
Yeah, and again, a satchel charge, which has possibly saved his life there. Jesiz, we already saw that earlier on in the game, and again was able to not just jump himself to safety, but knock Froggen away from things as well. So let's have a look now once again as we're about to hit that 20-minute mark. Alliance's gold lead getting bigger, 28,000 to, let's call it 25, just a couple of hundred gold away from that point. Still 3-1 in kills, and still the towers tied up at 1 apiece. Just the top outer turret that's down on Alliance side of the map, and the bottom outer turret for SK. As again, CandyPanda gets in position with the help of nRated. We saw him earlier on take down Froggen. Probably wouldn't be too scared of Tabzz at this stage either.
Yet to see Jesiz actually throwing an aggressive Mega Inferno bomb out. Satchel charges away from Shook, so he does not get caught out. Froggen now back in this mid lane. Still yet to complete that Blade of the Ruin King. He has got 1,700 gold on him, so he could do with buying here. Uh-oh, Svenskeren caught out once again. Good cocoon on towards him, but Nyph has that explosive cast, going to knock him straight sideways. He's got nowhere to go this time around. Svenskeren caught out once again. It's another kill for Froggen.
Yeah, and we may see Freddy even being in trouble now as well. Froggen going to move in on this one. There's the knock-up. The ulti going to come through. Freddy tries to flash the ulti, but Wickd will follow him on. And that is Froggen picking up another kill, going 3-1-2. And yes, the barrel from Nyph missed again, but it had the same effect. We saw Svenskeren stepping back towards the team to get the kill. The consolation here for SK, though, is that they're pushing up the mid lane. They've got 2 men. They've taken the outer turret. They may have a good chunk of damage to put on the inner one as well.
Great reactions from SK, but also down the bottom lane is going to be Tabzz pushing on towards that inner turret as well. Quickly, Svenskeren is going to respawn and react to that one. Top lane will go down for Alliance, but that's 2 mid turrets taken by SK Gaming. Fantastic reactions to get in and get those towers down.
And that's where SK have really excelled all season long. These split-second decisions almost to push down towers, to go quickly for the objectives. As CandyPanda and nRated, you need to be a little careful about this one. There's the ulti going out. Not gonna do all that much as a wind wall comes down. CandyPanda trying to escape through the team. Tabzz actually gonna chase him off on this one, and it's enough. The stealth lasted long enough to get CandyPanda right around the backside.
Balls of solid steel from CandyPanda there, just strolls on past the entire team. Lucky that nobody checked that out there. Nobody went for the sweeping lenses. Blue buff steal is going to be started by Alliance, though. Of course, they just lost their own one, which is why they're going to come around. Shook is actually low on health, though. And SK are reacting very well to this. They're all moving across. They know that this is coming. We did just see Braum, of course, using that ultimate, so nRated won't have that available to him. Svenskeren's just off the side. They can smite it away. CandyPanda just ready to let loose with that rat-a-tat-tat. Nyph's gone very deep. Mega Inferno Bomb lands on no one. And Alliance can turn his back around. nRated goes aggressive. Gets kicked straight away. They're collapsing on towards Alliance. They're running for their lives right now. Shook is going to get caught out. Safeguards away. Froggen looking to go back in, but he's going to catch the entire SK team. They're trying to collapse on towards him to get the stun knock up. Froggen goes down. It's CandyPanda with the kill. Wickd was way too late to that fight.
Nowhere near the fight, and we can see the teleport not available for Wickd, and that is bad, bad news for Alliance, and the whole combo just didn't really work for them. We saw Nyph going into it very early on. There was no follow through there from Froggen either. We saw the kick coming through as well, and just not working out the way that Alliance, I'm pretty sure, it envisaged that one.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. You can see the difference between the goal in the jungle right now. Shook massive, massive advantage because Svenskeren's just simply been caught out a few too many times in that jungle. Trying to get those wards, those deep vision wards in there. Freddy will get away for a Wickd, who leaps in there. Wickd, by the way, he's quietly going about his business. He couldn't really get too involved in it because he's only got the Blade of the Rune King. He's slowly getting his farm on though. He's been a long way behind Freddy for the majority of the game, but that has stayed the same. It hasn't fell any further away. So once he starts getting that farm on, we know what a late Jax can be like. He's actually kept up in levels as well with Freddy, so he just needs to get himself some free time, which he's got in the top lane. If you look at it, big amount of wards because of that red buff fight. He's happy to push that wave around.
And the 3 assists to his name counted things out on that front. Also, we see the last whisper in there for Tabzz on top of his Bloodthirst. Again, down in this bottom lane, CandyPanda gonna wait for his support to come around and maybe think about Froggen, but Shook is also there as well. CandyPanda will spot him and say, okay, nope, we thought we might get a Froggen, but actually Shook was there, so let's not bother with that one. Let's not risk it.
Do not want that one, that's for sure. So they step away from that one. I think that was the first Mega Inferno Bomb I've seen Jesiz thrown out so far. Didn't quite land, didn't do enough, but SK came out on top nevertheless. And Alliance, I think, have slowed down a little bit here because they just realized, you know, while we had some great plays in the top there, we did lose 2 big objectives in that mid lane, which are key towers, honestly. So it may well slow this game down a little bit right now. 23 minutes gone, just 7 kills on the board. Definitely a slower pace than the Challenger Series matches. I'll tell you what, Nyph and Shook, if they don't move, they're going to get caught here.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. As you know, the whole 2 objectives, 2 towers down in this mid lane. Usually SK would start to push up a little bit here, get some vision down in the Alliance jungle, but Alliance are actually holding them pretty much at the halfway point here at the river. In fact, Alliance themselves have some wards down on that top side, so I think that's stopping SK having as much freedom as you may expect in this stage of the game, having those 2 towers in the mid lane down. However, should give them the advantage over the Dragon area, as CandyPanda are just going to scout out. But look at this, Alliance moving around. They need to be careful about SK's reaction, who may just go straight up middle or go for the fight.
They come around the side, nRated doesn't land too much on there. It's going to be a delicate dance between these 2, and you got to keep your eye on CandyPanda and Tabzz. Those 2 AD carries are going to be so vital in this fight. Wickid's going to be the man they're pouncing towards. He's keeping that dragon down. He's tanking a lot of the damage down. The culling being used as well. There's no smite available. Finally, Shook goes in. He gets the smite down. Svenskeren's going to get jumped off. Wickd gets the kill on towards him. CandyPanda focused. He goes down. Shook on towards him as well. nRated now focused down. Another kill for Alliance comes in. Shook will get the kill. And that was a 3-for-1. Freddy gets away, but the dragon also went Alliance's way. They came out with everything in that fight.
Yeah, and again, I'm not sure how much Jesiz has really offered to that fight. He manages to survive it in the end, but having to back away from things. Alliance again coming out big with that one, 8 2-in kills. Let's have another look through this one. We see there Jesiz off towards the top side. Wickd doing a good job of dealing the damage over to Svenskeren, which they couldn't do much about. Shook comes in there for the dragon, and you see Jesiz knocked straight away from it. They're just ignoring him. They don't care about him even.
Well, I mean, he's got not a great deal of damage. Meanwhile, the Baron is Froggen actually jumping on towards Freddy. Freddy very low here. He's going to get caught out. Satchel Charge bounced him away, but they're going to catch him out with that wind once again. And Froggen with another kill. They also picked up the Baron as well. Alliance in full control now over SK.
And we saw so many early bans on Yasuo, or towards Froggen with Yasuo when we first saw Yasuo come into the LCS. When that finally got through, Froggen's performance on it was average. I think it's lackluster. That's a nicer word to use for that, I think. But today, just showing why is probably worth a ban. Tim, they threw the likes of Nidalee in the bans towards Froggen, but so far everything working out nicely for him. You see Nyph as well. Gragas, a new support pick for him, sat with no kills, no deaths, but with 6 assists in there as well, and really doing well here at Lion Save, closing in on a 10,000 gold lead as well. Not looking good for SK, but again, we fall back to the old standard almost of there's a Ziggs in the team. It could be harder as things go on for Alliance to close out this game.
Look at those gold differentials. You can see Wickd. He was so far behind, but now look. 1,500 gold advantage over Freddy because of all the global objectives they've been getting, all those dragons, those barons they've been collecting out there. Shook trying to think about going towards nRated. He just quickly puts that Unbreakable up, making sure he doesn't come pouncing in towards him. Alliance now, with this baron, they need to focus on this mid lane. They know that's where they're going to go. SK looking to defend it, but honestly, I'm not sure they can hold this one. Blue buff will get stolen away, unless CandyPanda manages to ninja something out here. It's going to be easy steal for them, and SK, they've got to be careful they don't get full-on tower dive here, because I think Alliance have the damage to take them.
Yeah, they catch on to the right start of things, and that may just be it. Shook getting the kick off to the side, and no follow through there by Alliance. Did not get rated a little bit further down on the health, but let's watch these minion waves here. Taken away quickly, we see the Colin being used, but that minion wave is already gone. Alliance obviously not feeling comfortable at this stage to tank up too much, but the turret is taking a couple of hits here and there as they start to push through. Without CandyPanda, they're probably not going to be able to defend that turret, but he wants a red buff to come in case that fight goes.
They don't have a solid recognizable tank right now. Wickd hasn't got to that stage. He's only got a chain vest and even Tabby on there in terms of armor. But remember, Alliance are chasing potentially a losing battle here with a solid AAD comp, but they are going to take this tower down, just tank it straight through. Now nRated is going to have to get away from this one. Wickd doing everything he can to block all the damage from SK, and that was a solid performance. They've got the regen, of course, from the Baron, and no problem there. They just walked up and took it. They felt they maybe could have pushed SK further there.
Yeah, and Froggen really the one that just moves in there and says, look guys, I'm going to tank this one up, do some damage to the tower, let's get that one out of things and maybe start to strangle SK in this one. As we said before, SK get into reactionary towers in that middle lane earlier on in the match, but up until now, it's really all Alliance that are going to be controlling the pace of the game. We already see the walls past the halfway point of the river from Alliance's side of things, and again, closing in on towards that 10,000 gold lead, which in less than 2 minutes as Dragon is going to be coming up, could be a reality.
So nRated trying to regain some of that vision that SK have lost in and around that river area, but Alliance pushing up once again in numbers in this mid lane. SK a little slow to react this time. You can see CandyPanda's down the bottom. Freddy is making his way up here. Wickd is keeping that split push going, which may be the focus target actually. This may be Alliance just simply keeping them busy in the mid while he gets around, and they can just rotate towards that top tower and take it down quickly. They're going to see how SK react to it. There they go, heading straight off towards that tower. The next wave will come in. They're going to clear out the walls and get straight across there. SK need to move. CandyPanda's not with them, and that's a big portion of SK's wave clear. Of course, Jesiz has got that Mega Inferno Bomb if he needs to use it to just wipe out that wave.
See about that one, he's going to throw quite a lot through. Shield comes up from nRated as Jeziz's attack blocked by that wind wall, and Alliance happy with it. 2 or 3 auto attacks onto the turret from Tabzz, and they just start to move away. There's a couple of wards to be cleared out up on the Baron side, which nRated got down a little bit earlier on, but it seems to me like Alliance really thinking about this next Dragon that comes into play in 3/4 of a minute's time.
Yeah, Baron buff gone down now, so Alliance don't want to keep that pressure on. As you mentioned, Dragon is up shortly, so quickly Alliance split off, ward up everything they can, get ready to come back for that Dragon in just a couple of moments' time. SK Gaming, will they try and compete for it? They're 9,000 gold behind. That's a big, big amount. CandyPanda, though, if he lands in the right situation, in the right moment, in the right place, he can get a lot of damage down. He's got that Ghost Blade on there alongside that Blade of the Rune King. But, honestly, it's going to be a tough call because Wickd is going to pounce towards him, Froggen's going to go towards him, Shook's going to go towards him, Nyph almost certainly is going to throw his ultimate towards him, so everything is focused on CandyPanda. That's obviously why he's picked up that Banshee's Veil so early on.
Yeah, and that's funnily enough how we saw the last game between these two teams end with CandyPanda being spotted out in stealth and then going down for it. There's another Dragon, all 5 this game, going over to Alliance. And we pointed out in the pre-game, the problem that they had against Gambit last week was that there was just no control over Dragon whatsoever. Can't say the same this game though, 100% of the 5 going over to Alliance, and that means that they are in such great control. The 10,000 gold lead has now been broken out by Alliance, and that with just 1 minute to go until the next Baron comes into the game. All or nothing at this stage for SK, I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Alliance actually play this one out for the next Baron as well. I don't think they're in any rush to take these towers down in true, I guess you could say, CLG EU style. They are playing it by the numbers. They don't need to risk anything. There's a lot on the line for this team. If they can win this match, they go very clear in that top lane. A 9-2 record is something they can definitely look forward to having. Ready very cautiously with that burnout run, he makes his escape, but he knows the entire vision and the entire position of Alliance. And look at SK, they're trying to react to this one. They're trying to shove in that mid lane, force Alliance to react, and they have to do that. They have to get back across because those 2 inner turrets already gone down in that mid lane, and that delays them once again. But the Baron fight will be beginning in 20 seconds. The ward control, look at that, 3 pink wards. They try I guess you could say, in that river area. Completely covered off by Alliance. They have full vision here. SK will have to be very, very risky if they go and try and even compete with this one.
And that's part of the problem here for SK. Even if they push down middle, there is the knock-up. They're going to go for Svenskeren. Good little repel from him in that one, and the TP's coming down as well. Wickd joins the fight, and after all that thrown their way, no kills, not really much health lost even across the board.
A couple of ultimates used, Froggen and Nyph using his, Rat-a-tat-tat was used by CandyPanda as well. Mega Inferno Bomb didn't come out. They're trying to set up a death bush, but SK Gaming not even remotely close to this one. CandyPanda stealthing, he's passing a ward, they know he's there. They're running straight into it, but it's another good Unbreakable coming out. It stops everything, mitigates all of that damage, and now Wickd's gonna get focused on here. Wickd's in all sorts of trouble, the bombs is coming through. The Mega Inferno Bomb just gets used out, nicely done. Jesiz gets himself 1 kill, but Alliance can turn this one around. They've got so much damage and gold that they have the damage to just turn it around, despite the fact it's a 4-on-5. They come through, Tabzz gets ready down. They jump on towards him, Jesiz on the side there, Tabzz is all over him. Sonya's Hourglass simply takes his life for a couple of seconds. It's a double for Tabzz, and nRated gets taken down, and Shook picks up the kill. And despite the fact they lost the top laners so early on in that fight, they just had so much damage and defensive duty to turn it around. It's a Baron for Alliance.
And the great thing there, Froggen managing to get a 4, maybe even it was a 5-man knockup, keep them under control. Sadly didn't have his ultimate because it had been used already in that last little encounter, but they've done enough to pick up 3 kills to force the other 2 men away, and that gives them free reign here on Baron number 2. All Dragons, of course all Barons at this stage, going over to Alliance. They are a country mile ahead in this game.
Yeah, 3,000 gold on both Shook and Tabzz right now, so they're going to go back and find themselves something juicy, that's for sure. Tabzz is going to continue to get all of the farm he can, because why not? Why not get everything else in your jungle? So, SK Gaming, they've managed to defend for a while. They still have Jesiz in there, and they did get a kill, but as was proven there, they can't fight in open ground like that. They need a tower, really, to use, just to assist them, if anything, here. And Alliance, now with the Baron, surely have to push for one of these inner turrets. They've got all the 3 lanes of waves to push, though. SK have done a very good job of keeping those waves away from their own towers.
And I'm a little bit worried for SK in the fact, of course, they're miles behind in this game, but going tanky pretty much across the board. There's Ilyas there who's gone tanky items. We see that Freddy's not got his Blade of the Rune King finished up until now. CandyPanda went for the 3rd item of the Banshee's Veil, and Sonya's was picked up in there as well for Jesiz. So even when they do get into these fights, not only are they behind, but you know, they're decently tanky, but they're not putting down enough damage to burst through what Alliance have got of them. And then you've got Froggen, who's got Infinity Edge, Blade of the Rune King, Static Shiv, and the Banshee's Veil, and the tanky items behind that one as well. Not really much competition, I'd say, afraid, for SK's side of things. As Froggen going to dive in, they're going on towards Freddy, who takes a chunk of damage, but Froggen Force tanking up the turret. Didn't really want to go behind it. They'll take the turret though. That's the 4th of the game. Meanwhile, this mid lane being pressured a little bit by Wickd as well.
CandyPanda thought about sneaking around the back of Tabzz there, but now actually nRated's in trouble as well. Jesiz, they're going to get focused on the side there. The Cullen doing just about enough damage to force Jesiz away from this tower. They may have enough damage and wave clear to keep Alliance at bay right now. CandyPanda so close to getting around the back of Tabzz there. I think he may would have gone for it. He may well have tried his look there. It could have worked.
Nothing to lose from SK's side of things. I mean, they are so far behind in this one that if they don't pull off something, if they don't force a mistake from Alliance, they'll have a pixel-perfect team fight in this one. They're in trouble, and there is the cocoon onto Froggen. No follow-up, though. And in the meantime, Tabzz and Wickd just tanking up this turret. Slowly but surely, he's going to go down.
Yeah, Wickd has that Randy's Omen now, so he's just so strong. He can tank out the turret. Has the damage to back it up, and Tabzz, of course, you just look at his items, he's stacked out. SK Gaming stepping away from this inner turret. That's the 5th one of the game for Alliance. Just that bottom inner turret remaining for them, and they may keep pushing. That Baron buff has still got around about 90 seconds left on it, so they've got plenty of time to keep playing with these minion waves.
And going to keep doing that as well. And the thing is, SK can't afford to lose Jesiz here. They can't afford to have that wave clear taken away from them, because we've seen it already. Alliance will just step in there. Wickd not afraid to tank up that turret with his randoms, with a Banshee's Veil in there as well. We've seen step forward, and the whole time Tabzz just having to go on the turret. As soon as anyone gets close, he backs away. Ultimate out of Nyph, knocking CandyPanda away from the team. No fight after that.
Well, it was a disengage, and then maybe even trying to bait them out there, trying to force SK to come out of the base a little bit. We also saw Tabzz, he was very close to being stunned up, so had to dash out just at the right moment. Freddy caught out, not going to get dived in by Froggen. Tabzz taken very low this time around. Shook goes in, he doesn't quite land it, safeguards across though. He's clear, and this Baron buff, the regen's still going. Around about 20 seconds left on this one for Alliance.
Problem the wind wall offers as well here for Alliance. Stops a lot of what Jesiz can even throw out there. Stops CandyPanda getting down the damage onto those minions or onto Alliance if it even goes that far through. And again, they step forward. Wind wall goes down. Colin actually smashing through Freddy there as well. Trying to get in for the knockups. The slow onto Shook. SK hold on to it. And this is what Alliance are going to have to break through here. We've seen them now pushing away as the Baron buff actually times out. They know the time is on the Dragon. They've controlled every single one up until now, and this one's going to be no different. And it really wouldn't surprise me to see Alliance waiting out for a 3rd, possibly final Baron.
Yeah, it's a reset once again for Alliance. They've got to kill the waves, get the top and bottom waves back in towards it. They did get 2 turrets from that Baron push, but they're going to wait for the next one, I think, to spawn back up. That'll be in 3 minutes time as that Baron just wears off. Froggen going to shove this wave in. Giant stacks of gold on these players, by the way. You can see, again, Alliance really clocking up the numbers. 4.6k gold advantage for Froggen over Jesiz right now. Gigantic differences, and they are really showing. But, coming up to 40 minutes, SK Gaming, with 51k gold, are starting to get a lot of items themselves. So Alliance, you can tell, they are being very cautious when they attack these towers. They know, without that Baron buff, it's a problem. A simple catch out, if CandyPanda and Jesiz can combine their damage in the right place, it could take Alliance down, and they're very much aware of that, and that's why Alliance, despite the fact we can see that they're 17,000 gold ahead, are being so cautious.
Being cautious about it, and just added a bit more tankiness even into the lineup. The Thorn Mail for Shook. They've actually got 2 lockets in there as well. Couple of Banshee's Veils, so they will be feeling a little bit more stronger coming into this next possible encounter here in the mid lane. It's actually good cocoon from Svenskeren, but the TP from Wickd coming right into the middle of them. They're going to get a stun on towards nRated, but a back away as nRated does manage to mitigate most of the damage that Alliance have pushed at him.
Yeah, fantastic Unbreakable there, just coming out at the right time. Again, Alliance tried desperately trying to make a play, trying to catch somebody out from SK Gaming, but they are so defensively minded and cautious right now. They have the wave clear, they have everything under their control in their own base. They can't go outside the base. Alliance have full domination around that area. They did get out and get a couple of wards down as well. You can look around the river, you can see they have vision of the Baron pit area. 51 seconds on that Baron. It's going to have to be a cheeky steal from SK. They can't go straight up in a 5v5 fight right now, but they may be able to get a steal in there, get something to turn it around. It's what they did last time they fought.
And you have to feel that it falls to Jesiz really on that front throw. His ultimate in there at perfect timing, which of course becomes very difficult to do once you lose the wards that are going down. Not going to have vision of that Baron when it comes up here in 25 seconds. SK starting a little bit to move out onto the top side of their own jungle, but just too dangerous. They've got no wards really further down. It's kind of sweep as you go for SK Gaming on that front. They will, however, push this middle wave out a little bit over that halfway point. And that's actually forcing Alliance to move around and react to this somewhat rather than going straight towards the Baron.
Trying desperately to get some vision, but Alliance are clearing it out just as quick as SK can place it. Not allowing them in there. Baron has respawned, and SK are aware of this one. Alliance, they're not being as sneaky as they think, maybe, I don't think here. SK are well aware of the dangers of going in towards that bush. I don't think they're likely to just stroll on in. They played that game one too many times with Fnatic last week, and they did manage to catch themselves out. Alliance have so much damage. This Baron is going down very quickly. SK are too slow to react. That's a Baron for Alliance.
Yep, Baron going over to Alliance. Third one of the game, and will it be the final one? We're going to find out here shortly. Actually, Alliance stepping forward. That's a good minefield. Actually, will slow them down, but SK somewhat out of position for a mid-lane defense. The minions coming in with Alliance. You already know they don't particularly care about having minions there, with Shook having so much armor, with Wickd having so much as well. And in the end, with the minion wave on the top lane, they're going to go straight in for this one. Shook going straight to the front. There's the ultimate. Going to go towards CandyPanda down to half. This is going to be the tower.
Tower goes down. Freddy Mega focused on his big tanky target right now. They're going to lock up onto Nyph, but look at that. They just can't even take down the support. Explosive satchel, everything thrown towards Nyph, and he just tanks through the whole lot. It's Svenskeren piling on towards him. He just strolls away. No problem there. Alliance are way ahead of SK, and they can't even take down with a focused target on that support.
And they're going to keep trying to break through this one as well and just wait for a solid knock-up, and they could end up diving straight onto this one. nRated going to go a little bit lower from that. Freddy still a half HP. Wickd not too scared of either of them. And look at Alliance, they're tanking up all the damage. Going to sit in there. Froggen did actually flash away from that one, but Freddy now going to be focused. The inhibitor is going to go down. Jesiz up to the side. Last seconds on his hourglass, but the Culling already running. That will get them the first. The rest of SK here, though, going to be ripped to pieces. CandyPanda just about gets onto the fountain in the end, but that is a 3-0, and surely the game for Alliance.
Absolutely fantastic performance, solid play from Alliance. They continue to hold top of the table. 9 wins and 2 losses now. Alliance take down SK game.
Really solid performance out of Alliance, and there was a lot of faith from you guys at home. We saw the LoL Esports vote earlier on, 77%, I believe it was, and Alliance coming flying out the gate, starting with Froggen having such a solid early game. Jesiz was dominated, to be frank, in that mid lane. Funnily enough, the CS by the end was around the same kind of totals that he was behind from that one before, but Alliance here showing that, alright, they lost out to Gambit last week, then they got that win, that base rates win against Fnatic to kind of get them back on the horse and ensure that there was no mini slump to follow the disappointment of losing your 7-1 record. And they come back into today, taking down what is their biggest competition in the LCS right now.
Yeah, the start of a new win streak maybe. 2 wins now for Alliance. We'll see how far that can go, because overall, I mean, everybody played well. You know, Wickd was taken out of the game quite heavily. SK clearly targeted that focus to maybe put him on his back foot, but he held his ground, didn't get caught out, didn't get any sloppy plays. He escaped a couple of times. We saw Freddy doing the same thing as well. A lot of focus on the 2 top laners at the start, and clearly it was all about the mid lane in the end of the day, because solid performance by Froggen, way ahead of Jesiz, 3 levels ahead of Jesiz at sometimes in that game.
Well, we picked the featured matchup for the mid lane for a reason on this one, and we talked about Froggen. If you want to beat Alliance, you're going to have to shut Froggen down. Fact is, he was starting to run rampage and dominate Jesiz in the early stages. Okay, Jesiz got, I don't want to say unlucky, because it was a well-crafted first blood from Alliance that, you know, swept them around the back. They were able to control him. He didn't even have time to flash away from that mid lane before he went down. And overall domination, but you rightly pointed out, across the board, Nyph didn't die once, okay, no kills, but 11 assists by the end from the 15 kills that Alliance got overall. 7 kills on Froggen, 4 on Shook. There were 3 on Tabzz as well. Overall, blanket good performance from Alliance.
And I also want to question, because a lot of the times SK will first pick Lee Sin. 4-0-10 for Shook on Lee Sin. Played brilliantly. Fantastic stuff. You got to wonder why they let that one through. Maybe they're going to question it themselves. Who knows? The Jacks also got through. A lot of choices that SK could have gone with. Clearly worked out for Alliance.
Yeah.
For now, though, we are going to head over to the main stage where Shox is standing by with the man in the mid lane, Froggen.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Indeed, the man in the mid lane, Froggen. Receiver of a great applause here already. You can talk to them in a second. Let's talk about the game for a second. You know what? You can talk to them now. Let's start with how awesome it must be. I mean, you've been around the world. You've been in so many awesome places, but this crowd is giving you a warm welcome once again.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's my first time I'm at a UK event, so it's really loud and it's awesome.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Of course, we had the crowd over in Paris. Now we have the crowd over in London. What are you thinking?
I think it's pretty even right now. oh, okay. Then show me what you got. Come on. Okay.
Well, they showed us what they've got, and you've also showed us what you've got versus SK Gaming. Great game from you guys. Talk us through the match in general. It seemed like you got all the picks you wanted because you picked them in the right order as well. It was very simple.
Yeah, we pretty much predicted every single pick they did, and it was very straightforward for us. They didn't try to contest anything we wanted in our comp. We played out the early game perfectly. We just tried to get fed. Like, if 6 doesn't get fed, then I get fed. We will auto win the game. And that's just how it happened with the early dive. They lost all the control, and we got all the objectives in the game.
Yeah, you talked to me about that early game, and obviously last week's fantastic game versus Fnatic. We saw in the feature, we were struggling actually a little bit in the early game. How have you tried to train on that specifically in this week?
It's more the decision making we have as a team and what we want to do in the early game. We are getting all that sorted out before the game starts, and we just try to, okay, we need to focus on this, we need to focus on this. If their team, they will try to do this with their team comp and all that kind of thing, so we can predict what they do compared to what we do and make up a great plan.
And you guys were absolutely explosive in this game once again. One final time, is there anything you want to say to everybody here? Everybody watching at home and supporting you guys for a long time now.
Yeah, thanks to all the fans, obviously, and to the amazing crowd.
Well, Froggen, thank you very much as well.
Okay, thank you.
Well, as the crowd is chanting Froggen, we are going to go over to the analyst desk where Trevor and the Fischer are standing by.
Welcome back, guys, and thank you for that game. It was phenomenal. Froggen very confident, talking about he predicted all the picks and bans, predicted the playstyle of SK Gaming. Picks and bans caught me a little off guard. I wasn't anticipating the Orianna ban. You know, so Jesiz has played it frequently in the past, but definitely a champion they didn't want to deal with.
So I think it was more to take a comfort pick away from Jesiz and also a very strong laner, especially if they wanted to play Yasuo here, take away the Orianna, don't want to deal with it. The weird thing for me was more the Nidalee ban from SK Gaming, especially because they have shown they can play the counters to it, so why do you actually take it away? And also here, in most cases, I mean, okay, sure, Alliance got a last big Nidalee, but SK should have expected it, and I don't think they should have banned it.
Yeah, so interesting picks and ban phase. Alliance put together a composition that had a lot of split push elements with both Jax and Yasuo. And when Froggen plays Yasuo, he does tend to play that split push role as well as the assassin. The early game was all about Alliance. They had a great tower dive early on. They had complete dragon control, and there was absolutely nothing that SK could do to stop them.
Also because SK Gaming, they've shown in the past, when they played against Fnatic, actually, where Fnatic had a pick comp, SK, they play very passive. They wait for the enemy team to make a move and try to then punish them for it and therefore win the game. This time around, Alliance didn't do too many mistakes in the early game, which meant all the picks they could actually get here got them ahead early on, and they got all the objectives. Of course, even our very first replay, we can just pull it up on the screen, is actually where Alliance managed to get a pick here and therefore use it to get objectives.
Yeah, so this particular clip, we can just roll this one straight out. It was really the start of Shook and Froggen grouping up and working together to find kills. The thing that I like about Froggen is he doesn't hesitate to use this last breath, instantly throwing himself onto Svenskeren, and it was just well executed by Alliance.
And even also the fact they predict Svenskeren actually to be here, because if you look down the bottom lane at the moment, there's a very big wave pushing up to the tower. So they expected Svenskeren to be there to try and dive on to whoever from Alliance was going to take this wave, and therefore they just move in, multiple members, find him, pick up a kill, pick up a second one, and take a dragon.
The thing that was interesting about Alliance in this game is they did play fairly slowly but they were always in control. It felt like every move they made was very calculated. And you did say there's not many mistakes. It is very difficult to find faults in Alliance's game plan.
And one thing I really like about Alliance in this game here, you talked about how they had a comp that could pick up targets. They actually decided to build more for teamfights because they got so far ahead. You saw Froggen, he built Banshee's Veil very early on instead of building Infinity Edge as the third item. Wickd as well, he didn't complete Trinity Force, he went Blade into tank similarly on Jesiz, so they put so much focus on being able to survive teamfights because they were ahead. So when you build defensive items and you are already in front, it just becomes so hard for the other team to kill you and win fights.
Well, talking about those team fights, the next big team fight that we want to highlight, if we can pull that up onto your screens, it was a match that battle that determined the second Baron of the game, if memory serves. Let's just roll this clip out. And even though Tabzz goes a little ham, maybe going a bit excited, it gets turned around very well by Alliance. Wickd goes low, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. So Nyph, first of all, he doesn't have ult this fight. It's normally the ult they use to set it up. So Froggen has to do it by himself. Gets the knock-up on multiple members, goes in here. And from now on, because once again Froggen hits 5 members on his knock-up, Alliance are just stronger in these fights. Again, look at the gold on the top of your screen. They're 10,000 gold ahead as well.
And this isn't the first team fight that we've seen SK on the full retreat, scattering, like spreading to the wind and just getting shut down and chased by the superior mobility of Alliance. It really felt like Alliance was doing everything right, and SK was really struggling to interrupt their game plan.
They played too passive, in my opinion. They were waiting for Alliance to make moves, and when you have Lee Sin, when you have Yasuo, I mean, it's so easy to set them. Of course, Nyph on Gragas as well. We had this roaming squad going around finding Pixie, and it simply meant Alliance, as you also said earlier, they got all the objectives. It was so easy for them to pick up Barons and Dragons.
Well, very quick thought before we move on. Alliance very clearly moving away from the pack. SK are faltering in recent weeks. Should we be worried?
I don't think so. Well, in case for SK, I still see them as one of the top teams in Europe because the teams under them at the moment, they have no issue surviving the early game and get to this mid-late game point where they are very strong. But when they play Alliance, and when they're going to play even stronger teams, they have issues and they need to fix this early game.
Well, we'll need to see if they can do that. We need to take a very quick break, and when we return, the Super Hard crew will take on the Copenhagen Wolves as the LCS action continues from Wembley Arena here in London.
More Alliance fans here than there is SK fans.
Why, Freddy? Why would you say something like that?
We have a Brit.
Yeah, we have a Brit.
Doesn't matter.
No one knows he's British.
Everyone thinks I'm French.
The culling being used as well. There's no smite available. Finally, Shook goes in. He gets the smite down. Svenskeren's going to get jumped on. Wickd gets the kill on towards him. CandyPanda focused. He goes down. Shook on towards him as well. nRated now focused down. Another kill for Alliance comes in.
I'm out. I will kick. I'm dead. Kite backwards. Kite all the time. We can turn soon. Yeah. I have to be careful. Yes, kill them all. I'm over here.
Don't chase too much. We can go Nash as well. Let's go Nash after Prom.
Go Nash.
Jesiz off to the side. Last seconds on his hourglass, but the culling already running. That will get them the first. The rest of SK, though, going to be ripped to pieces.